Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of Wildcat Watch Live. I'm Brendan Garrity.
I'm Stefan Johnson.
I'm Mimo Cricchio.
And I'm Bryn Garrity.
There was a lot of action this week in sports, so let's get started with some football highlights with Mimo.
Thank you very much, Brendan. It was a grueling battle this past Saturday at Villanova Stadium. 5 lead changes and nothing but field goals in the second half made for an intense day for Villanova football. Unfortunately for the Wildcats, they came up short in their efforts, falling to William & Mary 20-16. The Tribes certainly created more scoring opportunities, as they had a fine showing from their offense. Michael Graham led the passing attack, going 13 for 24 for 171 yards, while Jonathan Grimes carried the rock 31 times for 140 yards and 2 scores. For the Wildcats, senior quarterback Kristen Culicerto finished the day 15 of 24 for 132 yards and 1 touchdown, while freshman back Jamal Abdur-Rahman gained 43 yards on 4 carries. Junior wideout Dorian Wells was responsible for the lone Villanova score on the day when Culicerto found him in the end zone for a 15-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter. He would finish the day with 6 receptions for 59 yards. However, it was the kicker, junior Mark Hamilton, who made his presence felt on Saturday, hitting twice from 25 yards out and again from 45 yards to keep Villanova in the hunt. But the William & Mary defense had other plans, holding the Wildcats to just 2 possessions in the fourth quarter and dashing all hopes of a comeback when they intercepted Culicerto on their 11-yard line after he had led the Villanova Wildcats 60 yards in 11 plays for the final drive of the game. The loss drops Villanova to 1-4 on the year, while William & Mary improves to 3-2. Now for volleyball and cross country, let's send it over to Stefan.
Thanks, Mimo. Despite the loss, it sounds like the football team put up a good fight. This weekend, the volleyball team remained perfect in Big East play after defeating the West Virginia Mountaineers in straight sets, 3-1 on Friday at Jake Nevin Fieldhouse. Junior Morgan Petkovich led the Wildcats with 15 kills, and junior Kristen Anderson had 12 kills with just 2 errors. Also, senior Maggie Mergen also contributed with 10 kills. Freshman Allie DeBernard dished out a match-high 38 assists, while senior Kim Maroon collected 22 digs. Sophomore Mariah Henley tallied 11 digs. After a 5-5 tie to open the first set, the Wildcats scored 4 unanswered points and eventually won the set 25-14. The Wildcats went on to lose the second set 24-26, but then won the third set 25-14 and the fourth set 25-21. On Friday, the women's cross-country team put on an impressive performance in the annual Paul Short Run at Lehigh University. In her first race of the season, Bogdana Mimic finished first in the women's gold race. Mimic won what was her first race ever at the Paul Short Run by a 9-second margin. This performance by Mimic helped the Wildcats to a second-place finish among 45 schools. Sophomore Emily LaPerry finished in 11th, and sophomore Nikki Akande gave the Wildcats a great effort with a 14th-place finish. The Wildcats just barely missed a first-place finish to Providence by a margin of 104 points to 101 points. Also at the Paul Short Run, the men's cross-country team finished an amazing 4th place out of 45 teams. Senior Matthew Gibney completed the 8K men's course in 24 minutes and 41 seconds to help lead the Wildcats. Gibney came in 15th out of 402 runners and was followed by senior Wildcat Keith Capici, who came in 17th and was just a second behind Gibney at 24 minutes and 42 seconds. The rest of the Villanova top 5 included senior Ryan Sheridan, who came in 37th, and juniors Greg Morin, who came in 44th, and John Pickhaven, who came in 64th. Now over to Bryn with field hockey and soccer.
Thanks, Stefan. It was a rough week for our field hockey team. After losing to Rider 3-0 on Wednesday, Villanova hoped to rebound yesterday, but Bucknell was ready for them. Both teams struggled offensively, and Villanova freshman Jessica Swoboda, the Wildcats' dominant offensive force, managed to score late in the first half, but the Bisons quickly retaliated with a goal less than a minute later and scored again in the second half on a penalty shot to seal their victory 2-1. It was Bucknell's first victory in the matchup since 2006. From her goal yesterday, Swoboda now leads the team with 6 goals for the year. Congratulations, Jessica. It was a fantastic weekend for Villanova soccer fans, as both the men and women's teams took home victories. After beating St. Joe's on Wednesday, the men posted their second consecutive 3-0 victory this past Friday night against Seton Hall. Near the end of the first half, junior Ryan Whalen sent a ball to classmate Emerson Lawrence, who capped his run down the right side with a shot that beat the Pirates goalkeeper and put the Wildcats into the lead. Then, early in the second half, Nova struck again when it took advantage of a corner kick. The ball was served into sophomore Dylan Renna, who found teammate Kyle McCarthy, who sent a blast into the net. Renna completed the scoring when senior Kevin Garcia found him in front of the net. Renna's shot hit the crossbar and fell beyond the goal line, giving Villanova a 3-0 lead and the win. Women's soccer also had a successful week, breaking a 6-game losing streak with a 3-1 victory over Pittsburgh on Friday afternoon. Then yesterday, the Wildcats struck again, beating number 22 West Virginia 4-0. 2 goals in each half propelled the Wildcats to their biggest win of the season in their first contest against a nationally ranked opponent. Senior Katie Ryan tallied the 15th game-winning goal of her career to break the previous school record. Ryan scored twice in the first half in a span of just over 2 minutes to stun the Mountaineers' defense shortly after West Virginia had taken a 1-0 lead. Junior forward Heidi Sabatura and redshirt freshman midfielder Stephanie Myers each had 1 goal and 1 assist each. The trio of Ryan, Sabatura, and Myers combined for 15 shots and all 4 goals for the Wildcats, and all 3 seemed to be in constant good scoring position throughout the game. Sophomore goalkeeper Jamie Kranich finished off an excellent weekend with 6 saves, including a fantastic save, a tip over the crossbar on a terrific shot off a corner kick in the 15th minute. Entering the game, the Mountaineers had been undefeated in conference play and had won 17 consecutive games against league opponents dating back to last year and including the 2010 Big East Championship, making yesterday's Wildcat victory even better. Congratulations to both the men and women's soccer teams for fantastic wins. And now back to Brendan with upcoming games.
Thanks, Bryn. Well, if you weren't able to make it to the games played last week, don't worry, because there's plenty for you to see this week. This Tuesday, October 4th, the men's soccer team will be traveling to Easton, Pennsylvania to take on the Leopards of Lafayette College. Also on Tuesday, the women's field hockey team will be traveling to Penn State to take on the Nittany Lions. On Friday, though, the women's soccer team will be taking on Big East rival Louisville at home, while the women's volleyball team will be on the road facing Syracuse in another important Big East battle. Also on Friday, the men's lacrosse team will travel to Annapolis, Maryland to take on Navy. Wrapping up for Friday, both men's and women's tennis team will be in action. The men's team will be in Hamden, Connecticut at Quinnipiac Invitational, while the women will be down south in Norfolk, Virginia to participate in the Hampton Roads. On Saturday, while the majority of students are enjoying fall break, most of the athletic teams are in action, beginning with women's rowing, who will be participating in the Navy Day Regatta at 8:15 a.m. The men's and women's cross-country teams will be racing through Philly in the Jack St. Clair Memorial Championships starting at 12 and 1 p.m. If you live in the Providence area, be sure to check out the field hockey team, who will be facing the Friars at 12 p.m. On campus, though, the men's soccer team plays host to DePaul at 1 p.m. in an intense Big East battle. The men's tennis team will continue their play throughout the weekend in Connecticut at Quinnipiac, while the men's golf team heads to Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania to take part in the always competitive Big Five Invitational. The action doesn't stop there, though, as women's soccer plays host to the Cincinnati Bearcats in a classic Big East rivalry beginning at 1 p.m. The women's volleyball team looks to continue their undefeated Big East record as they travel across the country to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to take on Marquette. Finally, the football team travels north to take on the always challenging New Hampshire Wildcats in a tough CAA showdown beginning at 12 p.m. The football team looks to rebound from a heartbreaking loss to William & Mary this past weekend. However, Nova held the Tribe to 20 points while scoring 16 points of their own. This is the first real road test for Villanova, in which I believe our team will play aggressively. In a CAA Classic, I see Nova pulling off a huge victory with a final score of 21-18. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Wildcat Watch Live. For Bryn, Mimo, Stefan, and myself, I'm Brendan Garrity. And remember, stay Wildcats.